What's up, y'all? Welcome back to In the Wild, and today we have a very special episode for you. If you know, Augusta University is all about growth and expansion, and we are super excited to talk a little bit about that today from two very special areas. So our first guest today is the director of the animation program here at Augusta University, and we are super excited to talk to him a little bit about all the expansion and growth that's happening. So give a warm Jaguar welcome to A.B. Osborne.
Happy to be here.
How's it going?
Great. How are you?
I'm great. Excited to have you here. We've been talking about having you on for a minute now, so I'm super excited to have you dive in a little bit into what's been going on in your neck of the woods, so to speak. But could you start by telling us a little bit about yourself and just how you journeyed into animation?
I guess I never really stopped animation. I was the guy in middle school when people were doing normal things like sports. I was doodling on my own characters, and I wanted to make that happen, and I just always focused on that as a career. I really wanted to do animation. And then how I got here, they brought me in to build an animation program, and they really gave me the freedom to build it the way I wanted to build it. And so we've just been excited to build a really good program.
So how was that process like to kind of build a program up from the ground up?
It's a little daunting at first. You're kind of handed a blank slate and go, here, make this happen. But I'd worked a lot in animation education before. I went out in the industry, and I've worked in industry, and then I've taught at a lot of schools. So I knew what a good animation program looked like. And so I was able to kind of craft that. I had a great support system. Everybody helped me make it the way I wanted to make it. And, we launched, and it's been growing ever since.
So what would you say makes our animation program like no other?
Like no other. Well, I think first and foremost is, we look at the industry and what's employable, and we really try to teach those skill sets, especially in this area. Atlanta's a great market for animation right now. All the Southeast, there's a lot of entertainment stuff going on. And then also, ever since COVID, it's the animation market has really moved to being very supportive of being able to remote work anywhere. So, we've been focusing on that industry and making sure that we're teaching what the industry needs, right? We're not just, doing experimental things. We do try out some experimental stuff, but we're really trying to focus on the most employable skill sets in video games and movies. On top of that, I think one of the biggest things is just the cost. There needs to be a good public university options for animation, and there wasn't really anything out there. Again, you have people that are maybe dabbling in animation, but we're all in on this. We're really trying to, again, do what that industry does, but not make people pay art school cost for it.
And recently the university announced how the plan is to really expand the animation program to support, I believe, it's 400 students, right?
Yeah, so we're wanting to grow animation to 400, and that's just animation. Art and design, we think we can get to about 700 over the next, 7 years or so. So far, we've been meeting and exceeding that. We're growing like crazy. Once people find out that we're here, which has been the big battle. Once they find out we're here, they're into it. They know that, this is a fun industry. It's not going anywhere. It's only growing.
So when you think about some of the students that you've been able to see graduate and get started into their career, do you have any success stories that first come to mind?
Yeah. So, one of the coolest things is just being able to recommend a student for a job and get them to work on something that has some name power. And so, whenever they graduate and then they work for the company, and then you can later on bring them back to talk to your students. I think that's one of the coolest loops. And the students want to come back and talk. They learned a lot, and they want the new students to not have to learn the hard way like they learned. So, it's been a fun journey.
I bet. Are there any students that have gone to any companies that I think folks will be planning to work at one day? Any special places that you can talk about?
You want me to name drop?
Yeah, sure, name drop.
Just as a starting point, we're just now getting our first graduates. So the ones that would have started as freshmen would have just graduated in May. But a few of them, they've got jobs at education companies, which wouldn't be name brand, but they're working for universities, And then they're making content, like animated content, motion graphics, and things like that. Had one person go to work on Supercell stuff at my recommendation, and I've done stuff with them quite a bit. And it's marketing stuff. So Supercell, they're most known for Clash of Clans.
Okay.
And then I've got one. He won't even tell me what he's working on. He's like, it's NDA. I can't talk about it yet. I'll tell you one day. So we'll see where that goes.
I'm sure it's pretty big. But what did that feel like, though, to kind of see them just kind of after graduation go into these big things?
Oh, man. To be able to do animation, like you have to, one, have the right mindset. You have to really want to work hard on something and pour your soul into it. And these students are pouring their souls into it. And as you kind of look forward in 5 or 10 years, like they're going to be all over the industry doing the cool stuff. And then they're going to be able to bring them back here to teach our students and to talk to our students and show them how it's done. So it's just a fantastic feeling.
And as program director, how do you go about making sure that you're teaching them industry trends, technologies, all the changes that come with technology? Like we were talking earlier about AI is always advancing things. Like how do you navigate that?
Nothing in this industry stays the same. It's every 2 years something entirely different. So I've already kind of learned to ride that wave. If you do the same thing over 20 years, then you're going to be stagnating pretty quickly. So I make it a point to freelance as kind of part of my research to actually take on commission work out there. And so again, dropping the Supercell stuff, but trying to stay relevant and work with these big name companies that, just working a little bit of freelance here and there and be able to see their processes and what they're doing. And, we've seen, to get into the weeds with you, one of the big shifts has been moving from the idea of pre-rendered content to moving things inside of game engines. And so using video game engines aren't just for video games. You can use that for Hollywood live action stuff. You can use it for a lot of medical research stuff. Like there's so many different uses. And just by being able to try out these technologies that are current in the industry, you learn it and then you can bring it back to the classroom.
Okay, so I told you there were no gotcha questions, but this is kind of a little bit of a pick your brain question, I guess. So like with animation, there's film, there's gaming, design. Which of those, just like personally, gets you excited the most?
I'm in between the film and the video game worlds. Like I try to keep up with both of them because that's where my students are at. That's what they want to work, and I try to make sure I'm bringing that skills into the classroom.
Okay. I'm not an animation person, obviously, but for me, I really think gaming is just like really cool, just to see how from like the doodles and just like the concept to see it like real world, especially with like virtual reality, 3D. To me, if I had the time to learn animation, that would be my concentration, so to speak.
Well, you didn't drop virtual reality. Give it 10 years, we're all going to be talking about the word metaverse, right? That's not going away. Like the idea that you put on these VR headsets and you're sharing experiences with people all over the globe, but you're all kind of in a shared space virtually. And you can be whatever avatar you want. You can be a shark person or whatever. But yeah, like that's all animation skill sets. So, and Facebook's known for hiring people away from game companies to build these kinds of programs right now. And they're paying crazy money. Like we're talking $200,000 sometimes for people that can just work in VR with game characters. So I don't know. That's going to explode soon.
So with Augusta University being like a really supportive of like interdisciplinary collaboration, so to speak, how does animation kind of fall into that? Like, do you have any partnerships with any other departments or areas on campus?
So most of my students, they come in with, I want to work in video games, I want to work in movies. And to me, that's very much dessert. And I try to go, hey, you got to eat your vegetables a little bit too. And I call them broccoli projects, things that you wouldn't pick for yourself, but they're so good for you. And I usually try to collaborate, one, with anybody on campus. And that's just a heads up. If you guys got, anybody's listening to this and has cool research opportunities, like we want to help you kind of tell your story, right? We can make motion graphics that can help kind of push that forward. If we can work animation to help tell your story, we love doing that stuff. And even around town, we just recently had an internship where 5 students built this murder mystery kind of game experience with the Augusta Museum of History, where you go through history and solve a mystery. That rhymed. But they actually worked on it and got to build all the visuals for it. So, I mean, we're collaborating all over the place. We worked on something where it was like a nasal surgery simulator.
Okay.
And so we helped build the assets, and then we're kind of waiting for the VR, the cyber folk to pick it up and finish up the end result. In motion graphics, we do a ton of things to tell the stories, collaborations with the Gate Lab on the Health Science campus. What else have we done lately? So many different ones. We did, when Augusta University Online launched their program, we helped them build a little marketing video. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're collaborating with anybody.
You're doing a little bit of everything. Mm-hmm. That's really cool. And we've also heard that you may be involved a little bit with our upcoming eSports program. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
So, I, as a nerd, maybe athletics never really appealed to me, right? I watch a little bit of basketball. That's about it. Golf or football, that stuff just doesn't appeal to my students usually. But man, you put a video game in front of them, they're into it. And eSports, like that's the chance for them to kind of, that's their sports. And they cheer it on. They love to keep up with it. They can watch Twitch for hours just in the background while they work. So this eSports initiative is super exciting. If you mention that to potential incoming students or my current students, they all perk up when they hear it. Like they're excited about that. And so the hope is that we're going to build that into, we're going to have an eSports arena built into our new animation renovation. And so, you need a break from animating all day long? Here, go watch some, people play video games. And they would enjoy that, like they're excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds really fun and exciting. And I can't wait to see, because I've seen some ideas of what the design might look like for that arena. So I'm super excited to see it all play out.
You need the glowy lights.
Yes, we got to have everything. All of the Jaguar custom designed merch and chairs and keyboards. I want to see all of it. So with that being said, with all of the projects that y'all have worked on, are there any events or opportunities for students to really showcase their work, for folks like me to come see what y'all are working on and do?
Yeah, so we're always trying to have stuff. I mean, Art and Design puts on a ton of events. We usually, towards the end of the year, we will have some sort of student showcase. The seniors will exhibit their work. Last April, we made our first kind of big project. And when I say big, I mean 6 minutes long. But that's a lot for animation.
Yeah.
And but we had a big premiere, and we had a great turnout. Actually getting to build something that we're going to submit to film festivals. There's always something going on in the Bird Gallery that usually shows off the art and design work. Even last year, the Undergraduate Research and Fine Arts Conference was won by an art student.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, we're everywhere. We're trying to be everywhere.
So as the animation field continues to grow, what would you like to see for the program specifically, and also just in the industry as well?
So, I think one of the great things about what our position here, how are we like no other, it really is the collaboration element. We work great with almost any department because we can help kind of showcase that research. I was talking to somebody earlier today of maybe we could do some sort of crime scene investigation thing in VR, and that would help with the social sciences, their criminal justice program. And we're excited. We're kind of sparking off those ideas. So that collaboration, I think, is how we set ourselves apart. The future of it, I mean, we're going to see more stuff in game engines. We're going to hear more and more about augmented reality and virtual reality. But at the end of the day, we want more, in animation specifically, I think there's a big push now for art styles to be a little bit more expressive. For a while there was the Pixar pre-rendered look. Almost every Pixar movie kind of felt the same. And then Into the Spider-Verse happened, and all of a sudden, all the art styles changed, right? So we just had the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, that Mutant Mayhem, it almost feels kind of like graffiti, and it's got a really interesting art texture to it. And so I think we're going to see more and more of that stuff. And then, video games are going to keep getting more and more visually appealing. And, one of these days the metaverse happens, whether we want it to or not.
I'm ready to go broke for a Apple Vision Pro already, just to see what it looks like. But we'll see.
I can never do the first generation. I always have to give it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna wait. But I know at some point I will own one. But last question: where can those who are interested in learning more about animation go to learn more?
So, one, we do tours. You can sign up for a tour and the admissions website, and we'll show you all we're doing here in art and design. We got I think that's probably the best starting point. Go to our art and design website.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited for all the things that the animation program has coming up this semester, but also just in general, because we love to support you guys.
Cool. Keep stargazing for the amazing.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to In the Wild, and joining me is someone to help us continue our conversation about some of the exciting growth opportunities happening here at the university. He is the Associate Vice President for Student Affairs, so give a warm general welcome to Dr. Colin Stewart.
Thank you so much. So excited to be back.
Yeah, welcome back.
My favorite podcast.
Look, I appreciate that. So, busy start to your semester, but I wanted to just dive right in and ask you a little bit about something that's really exciting coming to the university, which is eSports, or I guess coming back in a way, but a lot bigger than what we had in the past.
Yeah, it's such an exciting time at Augusta University, and I'm so excited for the launch of our brand new varsity eSports program.
What was I remember last time you talked about esports becoming a thing, but what would you say was like the driving force into bringing esports back or having a varsity esports program?
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot of synergy around gaming here at Augusta University, in particular with the Georgia Cyber Center, in particular with our students' passion and interest. And I think for me, that's what the big driving force is. For the last 2 classes, the top 10 interests of those students is gaming. When I have conversations with the students and I say, hey, what are you into? What are you excited about? I was talking with a senior actually during move-in last year, and we were talking about gaming, and he told me that gaming got him into cyber. And so really, I think it is driven by our students passion for gaming, their passion for competition, and passion for and how many doors this can open for our students.
And esports, it can be for some like a hobby or like a pastime, but it's also like a highly competitive field for people. So how do you think our esports program will kind of help cater to both?
Yeah, so what I'm really excited about the approach that we're taking for esports here at Augusta University is we're not only just providing varsity esports, we're providing intramural esports, but then also partnering with faculty. I think there's opportunities for research, but then also the production aspect of it. That's such a huge part of esports. If no one sees our students playing and no one knows who our heroes are, then they're not going to know how to cheer for them. We're not going to know how to support and encourage them. So as we launch our esports program in conjunction with the Georgia Cyber Center, we will have a production aspect to it so that all of our campus community, not just our students, their families and the community, but the broader worldwide community can tap in and watch our students compete.
That's going to be really exciting. And I hear that we're going to have like a arena as well.
Yes, at the Georgia Cyber Center, we're so excited to be opening this fall our new esports arena.
Could you tell us a little bit about what it's going to look like or give us a little sneak peek?
So the room itself is going to be in the clubhouse. I believe that's what it's called, on the 3rd floor. And it's got this really kind of cool garage door on one of the sides, and then it'll be decked out with high-end gaming machines. And then there's an amazing, kind of similar to this, except more esports wall wrap that will go around it, and then there's some cameras in there. But we're also going to be investing additionally in our intramural side, so we're still finalizing the details of that, but we'll be getting some additional gaming machines and iRacing rigs. So we're really excited about that.
And I heard that there's going to be a collaboration, or we had AB on earlier to talk a little bit about collaboration between the animation program and esports. So could you tell us a little bit about what that will look like?
Yeah, so the future of esports here at Augusta University is very bright with the growth of the animation program and the direct tying connection to gaming and esports in general. There's an opportunity as they expand their physical space to evolve our esports arena so that more students can actually participate and engage and watch them compete in person as well as through the streaming platforms, whether that be YouTube or Twitch. And then as the campus continues to explore animation and esports and game design, there's just a natural synergy between esports and the academics. And they're actually this fall was the first esports class that's being offered. And so there's just a lot of great partnerships with academics and student affairs and enrollment. So very, very excited about this fall.
How does that feel for you to kind of have this idea and just like within a year's time being able to see it through and grow so much already?
I'm really impatient, so to me it's going too slow. I'm ready to be where I see us being in the next 3 or 5 years. And so there is challenges with the supply chain, things not being ordered as quickly, and so things are moving too slow for me. But I'm so excited for this fall to do at some point, we don't have a date yet, but do a big massive launch where we really bring in the entire campus community, faculty, staff, and of course our students to see the arena, to play games, to see what this competition is really about. Because when people hear esports, I think there is a perception of what is it? And so to give that venue and that opportunity for the broader community to really learn and understand how talented and how complicated and challenging these games are and what it takes to actually be competitive.
I'm excited. Just hearing and seeing your excitement makes me excited. How do you envision students getting involved with esports? What will that look like for them this fall?
Yeah, so we're still finalizing the actual esports that we're going to be providing. More likely not, we're going to have Rocket League, Valorant, still exploring Overwatch and League of Legends. But there will be tryouts for the teams. And then typically there's an A squad and a B squad, so they'll be actually participating in competitions and tournaments, potentially even in traveling. And then there's the intramural aspect of it through campus recreation. There's, I think, around at least between 5 and 10 intramural competitions this fall, where maybe you're a little bit more of a casual gamer. Maybe you're just kind of putting your toe in the water, and you don't have devoted the time to become a certain rank. Then those are some opportunities for you to engage if you just want to show up. I think there's also opportunities for folks that want to be a part of something. They're really passionate about the community, the engagement that comes with this. And so maybe you want to be a shoutcaster, maybe in a role like this where you're getting to commentate. Maybe you want to be more behind the scenes where you're doing the camera operating or the production, or maybe you want to do a podcast about esports here at Augusta University. So I think that really it's not just about the students that are those highly talented students that are competing, but it's the data analysis, it's the assistant coaching. This really is an opportunity to be so much more involved than just what you're seeing on the screen.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool to have all of those co-curricular experiences all happening at the same time, because it's fun for everybody, for all of the different interests and skill sets that they have. Out of all of the different, pieces of making this program or getting this program to launch, what would you say has been the most exciting part?
For me, I launched an esports program in my last campus, and I feel like there's this constant tension to kind of just advocate and show the value. Here, the faculty and staff were on board, and so that has been so exciting to see that there's people that want to be involved and engaged in building and making this program what it could be. Across disciplines, not just one major, not just one academic department or one college, but multiple colleges, multiple programs coming together to build this program for what it could be, which is, to me, is just really exciting.
Would there be any, I know we're maybe like a ways away, but would you hope for Augusta University to have their own tournaments and hosting competitions and things like that? Like how big do you want esports to get here?
Well, so while we are having the Georgia Cyber Center, I think we're going to outgrow it the second we get into it. So I think we're going to need another esports arena. Again, partnership with academics. I think there's opportunities there in the future. So yes, I do want to. I think especially with the Georgia Cyber Center, there's opportunities to be. Maybe we're headquarters for the Peach Belt. Maybe we're headquarters for the entire southern part of the country, right? And so I think there's a lot of opportunities to showcase not just again our talented students, but what we do as a university to really host amazing, incredible tournaments.
What type of work will go into, I guess, making a tournament happen? Like, I guess, how soon would it take for us to be ready to get to that point?
I think we need to get battle tested first with hosting just some normal, like more minimal competitions, because it's not just the logistics of organizing. Okay, it's this team versus this team, and at this time and this time. It's really obviously the amount of machines that you might need. And then how, again, are you showing that story? And then most importantly, making sure that you have the bandwidth, and not just the bandwidth in the sense of the internet speeds, because every fraction of a second matters when you're competing at that level. But also the bandwidth and the staff that it takes to put on a large competition like that. And so we're actually have a meeting in a few weeks with the Peach Belt Conference to kind of talk about what would that look like as we grow and potentially partner in the future. But it's still too soon before we can kind of commit to anything at this point.
So kind of going back to students getting involved, what does that process look like for them, I guess, for this semester?
Yeah, so I think there's going to be some tryouts for the different competitions. They're already scheduled intramural tournaments. There's going to be a call out. We're going to host a couple sessions with students that just general information about here's the different tryouts time, and then again those other opportunities to get involved through shoutcasting, production, social media, graphics. And so that'll be coming here within the next month when we'll start to have those listening sessions or meetings for those topics. Yeah.
And where can students go to learn more about esports and what's happening?
Yeah, so if they just reach out to Campus Recreation through email or social media, we will get in contact with them, and we have kind of a list of over 100 students that are excited about esports, and so we'll add the students to the list.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I'm super excited about esports and seeing everything fall into place. So thanks again for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's an exciting time for our students, especially students that are excited about gaming. By the time that this podcast gets released, a new movie coming out called Gran Turismo, which actually follows a individual that was doing iRacing games and spent so much time, I don't know, thousands of hours iRacing, and then actually became a NASCAR driver in real life. And so the applicability and the synergy and the connection to other fields through gaming is just the sky is the limit.
Yeah, when I saw that trailer, I immediately thought of our program. I'm like, yep, we're gonna have a student one day to be able to say like, yep, at Augusta University, I stumbled into esports, and now I'm doing it big somewhere else.
The Grand Prix.
The Grand Prix, sure. But thanks again for being here, and for all of you that are listening, feel free to check out the esports program because there's a lot of great stuff in the works.
Yes, go Jags.
We are soulful, legendary in our own right, and undeniably funky, home to an experience like no other, and nestled on the warm banks of the mighty Savannah River. Augusta is calling you. Welcome to a place of charm and opportunity, and a customized experience. Here we build, think, grow, and forge. Augusta University, an experience like no other.